So how much screen time should kids have? How much screen time should I have? I think this is an important thing to think through. I mean, you think about our society. Toddlers are going through the grocery store with an iPad or device in their hands. Teens seem to be glued to it. But to be fair, you go to the park, you see a lot of moms who are not watching their kids, but they're watching something on their phone. I think this is very important for Christian moms to think about. And really, it brings up that old song. Maybe you know it. Oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. Do you know that song? Talking about the importance of what you see and what you hear in the previous verses. Because as moms, we are guardians of these little eyes, these little ears. We are tasked with the training of helping our kids know God, love God, follow God, to help them develop self-control, discernment, to develop a Christian worldview. And I think media and screen input is a powerful thing in our children's lives. So today's episode is just basically some questions to ask yourself, some things to get a good conversation going on with your spouse. My husband Mark and I have been talking quite a bit lately about screen usage and how we should limit it or what we should allow or the amount of time that we should allow our teen or preteen, especially as they're starting to want to look at some of the older movies and all of that. So this could be some good conversations for you and your spouse. Number one, how do we currently limit the screen time in our home? Is there a limitation already? Should there be, but is there one? Both for us, how do we make sure we have self-control, and our kids? That's a good topic to start off with. Number two, are there any media sources, social media, YouTubers, videos, TV shows, whatever it might be, that we know are having a negative effect on someone in the home? An attitude shift, starting to talk like a certain person, or we've seen things or heard words coming from this media that we think this is not good. And if so, if we know of some of those things, how do we address this? Number three, when do we most often use screens? When do we, as parents, and what about our kids? That's such a good thing to identify. What is the time where we tend to just pick up the screen? Where are we prone to do that or say, sure, that they can do that to the kids? Number four, on any given day, how many hours or minutes should a person be on a screen? What's the ideal? If we were just stepping back, what would we say? 30, 60, 200, 5? I mean, wherever you're at, what are we kind of shooting for as parents? Number five, what are the options we have for rest and relaxation? I know often people are on their phones or on devices for rest, refreshment, to kind of unwind. So what are the other options we might have? Could we do a hobby, a read aloud, go on a walk, whatever it might be? What could we come up with that might go in its place? I want to suggest just one resource, and it is a book called 12 Ways Your Phone is Changing You, and that's by Tony Reinke. It's a good book that talks about the positives and the negatives of the phones and how they are in our hands at all times, these screens right there. That might be something, if you want to think more about this, that you might pick up and order and read. Because I do think as moms, we should have a plan when it comes to the screen time in our home, both for ourselves, and I'm guilty of that, of just scrolling at times, and a plan for our children to know what we would prefer, what we think is best, and what we allow, and how much often we want. So stay tuned for some more episodes about screens and how we think through it biblically so that we can make good, informed decisions as Christians who want to serve the Lord.